Okay. Should be starting any second.
Yeah, okay. Yep, let me see. Okay.
You're all set.
Yep, okay, just popped on. All right. Excuse me. Why don't we start at 7:32? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to. Oh, excuse me. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our regularly scheduled meeting. Zoning Commission, City of Danbury, January 25th, 2022. Let the record show, we will begin with a roll call at 7:33. Ms. Fay,
Here.
Ms. Hylinski,
Here.
Mr. Malillo,
Here.
Mr. Hawley,
Here.
Mr. Jowdy,
Here.
Mr. Coelho,
Here.
Mr. David,
Here.
Mr. Rea,
Here.
Mr. Bennett, absent. Mr. Duran, absent. Ms. Mejia, absent. I'm Chairman Haddad. We have 9 regular, 3 alternates are absent. The next regular meeting is scheduled for February 8th, 2022. Would all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I can't hear my
Wait a
screen.
minute, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
I got a flag up already. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
for all. Thank you very much. We have 2 sets of minutes this evening to accept. One is January 11th, 2022. I think everybody received them, and January 20th, 2022. Commission members, motion to accept January 11th minutes.
Motion to
Thank you,
accept.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Your second,
Second.
Mr. Hawley, thank you. Motion made and seconded to accept the minutes of January 11th, 2022. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, accepted. January 20th, 2022 minutes. Is there a motion to accept? Ms. Hylinski, thank you. Motion to accept. Is there a second?
Second.
Who was that? Mr. Coelho, thank you
Mike.
very much. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Mr. Chairman, I have discussion.
Yes, sir, please.
I'm not quite sure that Ms. Hylinski was present for the walkthrough, so I'm not sure if she's can make the motion
Oh.
to accept the minutes.
Oh,
Yeah, you're right.
you're right, absolutely. And Mr. Malillo, I just realized January 20th was the walkthrough.
Yeah.
Some members were there and some members weren't. So I'll ask Ms. Fay if she could take the gavel. And if you can, if you recall who was present at that meeting, and have them, someone there make a motion, second, and those members will vote.
Well, I remember who was there, but I'm sure everybody who was there also remembers.
Okay. Well, why
Was
don't-
anyone who was present want to make a motion to
I'll
accept
make
the
a
minutes
motion
of
to
the special
accept.
meeting?
Perfect,
second it.
perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Public hearing this evening. Excuse me. Application of Giuseppe, Angelo, and Victor D. Simone, property owners for Blasius Auto, 16 Walnut Street, I-11054, for a certificate of location approval for a motor vehicle used car dealer's license in the CG20 zone. So we have a letter in the file. 1, 2, 3. It's a 4-page letter. Everybody has it. It was to Attorney Mizuko, who represents the applicant this evening, signed by Jennifer Eminger. I don't believe it has to be read in. Everybody has a copy of it.
Excuse me,
Public
Mr.
record.
Chairman, you didn't read the legal notice.
Jumped right over it. Thank you very much. I see it right here in front of me. Thank you very much. Notice is hereby given to the zoning commission of City of Danbury will hold a public hearing commencing at 7:30 PM on Tuesday, January 25th, 2022, and a web-based meeting hosted on Zoom to consider the following matter: application of Giuseppe, Angelo, and Victor D. Simone, property owners for Blasius Auto, 16 Walnut Street, I-11054, for a certificate of location approval for a motor vehicle used car dealer's license in the CG20 zone. A copy of this application is on file in the Planning and Zoning Office for public inspection. Parties and interest and citizens shall have the opportunity to be heard at this time. Agenda to be posted will include instructions on how to access the Zoom meeting and application materials and or view the meeting in real time on YouTube. Theodore J. Haddad, Jr., Chairman. Post on the city website, Town Clerk's Office on January 11, 2022. Published in News Times on January 14, 2022 and January 21st, 2022. Purchase order number 2021-174. I printed the agenda in black and white to save money on color ink, so I went right over it where it says public hearing and legal notice. Thank you, Ms. Reed. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Attorney Mizuko.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Ward Mizuko. I'm a lawyer here in Danbury, and I'm here on behalf of the Blasius Automotive Group, which is a tenant of the subject property. It's located at 14 to 16 Walnut Street, and everyone will probably recognize it as the former Danbury ambulance site. It consists of about 1.25 acres. It's located in the CG20 zone, which of course is the most intense commercial zone in the city. And one of the permitted uses in the CG20 zone is the sale, rental, and or repair of automobiles. And the proposal here is to sell used cars and to perform the incidental minor service that used cars may require. Now, this is not a typical zoning approval of the sort that your commission is most familiar with. It's not a change of zone. It's not a change in the regulations. The license for a used car facility comes from the state motor vehicle department, but a requirement by statute is local confirmation that the location is suitable. And we're here tonight to seek your approval of the location for this use. So, although it's a state license, the facility is not exempt or excused from local zoning. And in fact, we went through an in-depth process with the Planning and Zoning Department before coming here tonight. As I said, this is a permitted use in the CG20 zone. So we were able to obtain a site plan approval from the Planning and Zoning Department with no variances. So we comply with all regulations in the that are on the books. A small portion of the property lies in a flood zone, and we have a floodplain permit from the Planning Commission. Of course, all of this entailed approval by the city engineer, which we've also accomplished. But of course, we don't have the state license for used cars yet because that's required because it requires the approval of this commission. So this is, if you will, the last stop on our way to a used car license. If I may share my screen, I can give the commission a little more information about the site.
Yes, absolutely. If I
Thank
can
you.
also interject, let the record show that Commissioner Mahia is present at 7:41.
So this is a Google Maps street view of the area. This is Walnut Street. On the right is the Danbury Ambulance Building. And at a lower level is a lot that is, and you'll see that in more detail in a moment, but that's where the used cars will be displayed. And over, I can't really see it, but there's a, no. there's a there are buildings that are going to be eliminated, and a garage that is, well, this will all be more visible on the site plan. But look, this is useful for showing what's in the neighborhood. There's some multifamily dwellings at the east end, which are in an RMF4 zone. And as from here west are dwellings that are pretty well screened from the subject site, but they're basically non-conforming in a CG20 zone. And as you can see, we're very close to the North Street Shopping Center and other commercial uses along North Street and Padenham Road. So that gives you some feel for the neighborhood. Let me click off this and move to the site plan, if I may. Okay. So here's the site plan. So we have Walnut Street here and Rowan Street extension. And if you follow Walnut Street all the way to the west, in a couple hundred yards, you'll reach North Street. The site consists of a one-story office facility, which will be where the salesmen maintain their offices and meet customers. Over here is a one-story garage, which used to house the ambulances, but which will now accommodate minor repairs that are necessary in the used car business. Over here on the toward the eastern part of the site are spaces where vehicles will be displayed. And along here are parking spaces suitable for customers on the site. So I should also point out that there's a building over here that is too close to the property line. It's non-conforming. That will be eliminated. And there's a building over here that's rather obsolete. That will also be eliminated. On the south side of the property is Interstate 84. And that means that we're close to exits 5 and 6 of the interstate. Let's see if I can get it better. Trying to bring the vicinity map into better focus here. But here's the site outlined in red. That RMF4 is around this area. Here's 84, and here's the exit ramp for exit 5. Right over here is North Street. Just up ahead is the North Street Shopping Center. And other than that little bit of RMF4, the site is surrounded by and encompasses itself the CG20 zone. Are there any questions about the site plan at this stage?
Commission members, any questions? I don't see any, Attorney Mizuko. Continue on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. If not, I'll just switch to the zoning map to give you some better clarity on the neighborhood. Bear with me a moment here. All right, we'll have that for you in a second. I've got to learn to be faster with this. Okay, so here is the zoning map. And so here is Interstate 84. There's Walnut Street. The lots in question are right here, if you can see the cursor. And you can see that RMF4, but everything else around it is CG20. To the north is CL10, basically the North Street Shopping Center. And along Payden Road and then North Street is a corridor of commercial, CN20, CG20, and so forth. So the property enjoys very good access to Interstate 84 and other commercial uses. And there are a few residences along here, if you can see the cursor, but those would be non-conforming in the CG20 zone. So my client is eager to get started in business, tries to be a good neighbor. They put some exterior lighting in place, and one of the lights was apparently shining into the home of a neighbor. As soon as my client learned that, he redirected the light, so the neighbor is now happy. And that's the spirit with which my client is entering into this. So in conclusion, the site plan meets all regulations. All local permits, zoning permits, floodplain permits have been granted. The only thing left that is required to obtain the state motor vehicle license is the certificate of approval from this commission, which is evidenced by the K7 form that we've submitted to the Planning and Zoning Department. So I would respectfully suggest that since it's in the proper zone with all the proper approvals that we've established, that this is a suitable location for a used car facility, and we respectfully request the commission's approval. Naturally, if there are any questions, I'd be happy to address them.
Thank you, Attorney Mizuko. Mr. Jotty, I see your hand. Unmute.
Attorney
There you
Mizuko, any of these sites, are they occupied by anybody right now? Any of these buildings?
They're not occupied. The offices have been set up in the showroom area so that they could be occupied upon approval. So nothing is happening there now. They may be storing a few cars from time to time, but we had a discussion with Sean Harity, who preferred that cars were maintained at a different Blasius site. So we removed all cars from the site.
Okay, is the applicant right now own the property? Are they just in contract?
You know, they have they're a tenant. They have a lease with option to purchase, and you know, in due course, they will purchase the property.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Anyone else wishing, anyone else have any questions of Attorney Mizuko at this time? Mr. Melillo, is that your hand? Help yourself, please.
Attorney Mizuko, a couple of quick questions. In looking at the letter from Ms. Eminger, I'm noting here about the loading and offloading of vehicles shall be confined to the subject property. It's a small property. Can you explain how that's going to work?
I can, but you know, Mr. Dragoni from Blasius Automotive is here with us tonight. If it's all right with you, Mr. Miller, I'll ask him to explain that.
Sure, no problem.
Yes, Attorney Mizuko, if you could have him just state his name and the address, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure.
Yes, my name is Carmen Dragon, and I live at 313 South Georges Hill in Southbury. There is nowhere suitable there to drop off any cars. We have a location 4.1 miles away where we will be dropping any cars and servicing most cars here before they go there. There's no room in there to turn around a truck or nothing. There will be absolutely no attempts made to get anything down that road.
Okay. Thank you. That was my concern.
Yeah, you just can't do it. I mean, they can barely even get like a FedEx truck down that road.
Uh-huh.
So certainly there's no way they can park anything else down there.
Thank you. And I'm not sure if you would be best or Attorney Mizuko or maybe both. Can you just explain? I'm also curious. The last sentence of number 4 says the use of Walnut Street and Oakland Avenue for the general operations of the auto use is prohibited. How is that going to impact potential test drives?
I think what, if my memory serves me, and if I'm thinking of the right part of the letter, Jennifer was concerned about having trucks pull up and discharge vehicles in the street. And that's not going to happen. But test drives may happen. That's just a normal use of the road. Yeah, but there would be no discharge from, vehicle carriers, car carriers.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Anyone else have any questions of Attorney Mizuko and also of Mr. Dragon at this time? Mr. Coelho, I see your hand. Go ahead.
Question regarding the quantity of vehicles stored on site. I know looks like there's 4 rows to the maybe east side of the property, 2 rows of 13, 2 rows of 9 for used vehicle sales. Is that what it's going to be limited to? Total of the 44 cars on site. They're not going to display them on the grassy area or in between the parking and the sidewalk, correct?
No, Jennifer was very emphatic about that, and we understand that is not allowed.
But is it limited to those? If I count the spaces, Attorney Mizuko, it looks like it's maybe a total of 44 spaces for used vehicles for display.
Yeah, it's possible that customers could also use those spaces if there's not a lot of used cars on display
Sure.
at that time. But generally speaking, that's where the used cars would go.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. Can I ask one more question?
You're on mute, Ted.
Mr. Coelho, are you all set?
Yes.
Mr. Malillo, yes, please go.
Okay, Mr. Mizuko, just out of curiosity, and again, I'm not sure if one of your other representatives would be better suited to handle this question, but and you mentioned the limited, like more of a limited repair in nature to the business. Could you go in a little bit more detail as to what type of auto repair would be done in that little garage bay?
If I may call on Mr. Dragon again, he might be the better person to answer
Yeah.
that.
Sure. We would only be doing normal maintenance and repairs to cars that we sell. In other words, we won't be advertising to bring anybody else into the area or to fix their cars. We're not going to be able to do that. Just like we do at all of our other locations, anything that's really major that has to get done gets sent out. So you're talking about oil changes and brake jobs, just things that are normal maintenance.
Okay, so there wouldn't be any need for if a car was towed in because it needed some repair, so you'd have a damaged car or something sitting out.
We don't want that there. We don't want it in the middle of a neighborhood, and we don't want it right in front of our dealership either.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commission members, any other questions of Attorney Mizuko or Mr. Dragon at this time? Attorney Mizuko, any more comments until before I go on to anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Are you good for now?
No, Mr. Chairman, that is all I wanted to bring to your attention, and I thank you very much for your
Thank you.
comments.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Ms. Calitro, did you have any comments on this?
No, I don't have any further comments.
Thank you. Attorney
Chairman,
Mizuko? Yes, Mr. Malillo.
May I ask a question to Ms. Calitro?
Absolutely.
Ms. Calitro, I'm curious about something, and I'm thinking potential down the road. I appreciate everything that the applicant has, but as you know, once approval is given to this site for used car sales, if they find that they need to move on to a better location, they can, but the approval for the used car sale would remain with this lot. And my concern would be somebody else who would come in regards to the the way the layout of this property, and thinking about whatever repairs work might be done in that smaller garage. Would it be considered like a restrictive business or something if we were to put some limits on what type of auto work could be done in that garage?
Well, I guess you could consider putting on the record that any subsequent owner would be subject to the same site plan approval conditions that upon which you granted this location approval, and then they would be subject to the same conditions.
Okay. Thank you. I wanted to make sure I asked that before Attorney Mizuko got a chance to offer rebuttal in case he had some thoughts on that as well. If he felt it was appropriate to opine. So thank you, Ms. Calitro.
Sure.
Thank you. Attorney Mizuko, what say you?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The 4-page approval letter and the detail on the site plan are very thoughtful, very limiting, and I know that Jennifer has given a lot of thought to making sure that this doesn't become an unsightly facility, and there are some like that in the city. So my client's very aware of that, and any subsequent owner would be bound by all the terms of the site plan, so that if there was parking on the grass, parking on the road, anything that's inconsistent with that site plan, I'm sure that Sean Harity will be paying a visit. So I hope the commission is comfortable that this is a suitable use, not just for today, but also down the road for any subsequent user. But the Blasius outfit has been in business for decades, and I don't see them relinquishing this site in our lifetimes.
Thank you, Attorney Mizuko. Commission members, any other final questions for Attorney Mizuko at this time? Mr. Malolo, did that sort of satisfy your? Thank you. Not seeing or hearing anyone wishing to ask any questions of Attorney Mizuko, what's your flavor, Commission members, on closing this public hearing this evening? Any motion to be made?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing and move this to item number, is it item number 3?
Let's
Old business.
let's do the motion to close first. We'll do those motions separately. Last time we kind of got tripped up a little bit, so partly my error as well for allowing it. But let's make a separate motion. So, Mr. Malolo, you are making a motion to close the public hearing this evening on this?
Yes.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Coelho. Motion to close the public hearing by Mr. Malolo, second by Mr. Coelho. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? For the record, it appears to be unanimous that we close this public hearing. Mr. Malolo,
I'll make a motion to move this to item number 2 under old business for discussion and possible action.
under number 2. That's Blasius. Commission members, there's a motion made by Mr. Malolo to move this petition to number 2 under old business for discussion and possible action. Is there a second?
I'll second, Chairman.
Second by Mr. Ray. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? I don't see or hear any opposition. Unanimously, this will be moved to number 2 under old business for discussion and possible action. Thank you. Number 1, under continuation of public hearing. Petition of SC Ridge Owner LLC to amend the master plan for the summit approved June 23rd, 2020, and previously amended May 11th, 2021. If someone, perhaps Commissioner Fay, or maybe Ms. Colicchio, if somebody could refresh my memory, how are we discussing this tonight? On only what was seen at the tour, or is this open for all discussion? Where are we on that?
I believe you continued the public, I'm sorry, Commissioner Fay, if you wanted to
Okay.
speak.
Oh, go ahead. I thought it was all discussion because we left it open.
Left it open for everything, not just the site tour.
Yes.
Perfect. You agree,
I
Ms.
can-
Colicchio? Thank
Yes,
you.
that's
Perfect. Okay. With that said, I guess we're going to go to Attorney Beecher.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tom Beecher, and I represent the applicant and the owner, SC Ridge Owner LLC. With me tonight is Michael Basile. Tony Rizzo was not able to join us this evening. I hope that the site visit to the summit was helpful and informative for those that were able to go. It's certainly nice to see that building is alive and well and thriving as opposed to what it was like just a short 3 years ago. We don't have anything else to present tonight because we covered it in some detail 2 weeks ago. I would just like to thank those of you who took time out of your busy schedules to go to the summit. Thank you for your time, and thank all of you for your consideration of this application. If you see fit to add this to your agenda tonight and to approve this application, I would ask you to consider adding to any resolution of approval words to the effect that if the school is not constructed for any reason, the 3 pods can be used for apartments as previously approved. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Ms. Colicchio, any comment on that last statement?
No, if we got to that point, I was going to suggest that as well, and it was contained in the letter from Attorney Beecher, last
Great.
letter.
Thank you very much. Commission members, any questions or discussion or comments? A group took the tour. Anybody want to report what they saw or have any questions of Attorney Beecher from what you saw? Who wants to go first?
Chairman?
Mr. David, go ahead, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I just want to thank everybody for letting us go. It was very worthwhile. I don't see how we could have voted on it with a clear conscience unless we went there and saw this dynamic, vibrant facility. They made a lot of progress in the last 3 years. I think I saw it 3 years ago, and it's really shaping up. And I look forward to going back again as a customer, of course. So I want to thank you again for that. It was worth the 2 weeks waiting. I thank you for your patience. And I just want to ask, Mike's there, right? Mike's here?
Yes.
I'm here, yeah.
Yeah, I just want Mike to go over the traffic flow again for the school, if he doesn't mind.
Yeah, so the buses enter from the north side of the building through the guard gates. They will follow the drive to the far right down underneath the building, and they will exit out the south side. So it's a one-way road, basically in and out for the buses. So they exit out on Woodland Drive.
I'm sorry, Mike, can you just give your name for the record so we had it?
Oh, I'm sorry. Michael Basile, 100 Reserve Road, Danbury, Connecticut.
Mr. David, you have another question?
Well, it just seemed like the comments they made there that they were going to be on top of the flow and have it organized. So that was good. Yeah, so anyway, everything else was was a good facility. And
thank you, Mr. David. Thank you, Mr. Basile. Any other questions from any commission members or comments? I don't see any. Attorney Beecher, did you have any final comments?
I have nothing further. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Commission members, nothing else. What's your pleasure on this petition?
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
You want to
Yes,
see,
sir.
You have to ask if there's anybody in opposition. This is a proper public hearing.
Oh, in fact, I should ask if there's anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? I don't see any hands. I will now ask the commission members, or Ms. Calitro, any final comments?
I would just remind the oh, can you hear me?
Yes,
I would
I got
just
you.
remind the commission when taking action on the petition to go through the requirements of the P&D regs in section 4H3C that Attorney Beecher as well provided synopsis of at the last meeting. I can walk you through them real quick if you want.
Yes, please.
Okay, so the zoning commission may approve a petition if it finds the site is suitable for P&D, which is inclusive of the master plan, which we are amending for the following reasons. One, the proposed development is consistent with the plan of conservation and development and comprehensive planning program on which it is based. Environmentally sensitive areas are adequately protected. The proposed development is in substantial harmony with the surrounding area. Existing streets, including proposed street improvements and proposed streets providing access to the site, are adequate to support anticipated traffic volumes and at acceptable levels of service. Existing and proposed public facilities are adequate to serve the proposed development. Municipal sewer and water service are adequate to serve the proposed P&D can be provided. And in this case, again, adaptive reuse or the retrofitting of an existing building would be beneficial to and consistent with the orderly development of the city.
Thank you very much. And before we entertain any motions, I think I'm not going to read it into the record, but we did get a letter from Corporation Counsel. I requested it. Everything was proper in what we did at the last meeting in reopening the public hearing. So that's on record. Everybody has it. Click a link and you all got it. Commission members, what's your pleasure on this petition?
Chairman Haddad,
Yes, sir, Mr. Malillo.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Thank you very much. There's a motion made by Mr. Malillo to close the public hearing, second by Ms. Fay. Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? I did not see or hear. Let the record show unanimously. We have a motion and a second, and this public hearing is closed. Mr. Malillo, did you want to?
I'll make a motion to move this to item number 3 under old business for discussion and possible action.
Motion made by Mr. Malillo to move this to number 3 under old business for discussion and possible action. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rhea. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? For the record, I did not see or hear any opposition. Unanimously, this has been moved to number 3 under old business for discussion and possible action. If you give me a second, let me just make my notes here. Okay, so moving right along. Under old business for discussion and possible action. Are we there already? Yes, we are. Number 1, petition of the City of Danbury by Sharon B. Calitro, Planning Director, to amend sections 3C, 10B2, and 10C4A2 of the zoning regulations. In parentheses, amendments pursuant to Public Act 2129, opt out of parking requirements, amend zoning permit fee schedule to add provision authorizing charging for fee for expert consultant, and amend language in additional requirements for approval of special exceptions and special permits relative to the word, to use of the word character. Excuse me. Commission members, I think what we were talking about, or we got hung up on last time, was the conversation of character. But there's been a couple weeks to think about it. Anybody want to make any statements or comments on this? Is there a motion to be heard on this? And I think we talked last time where we could do this in parts as well. We can clearly, if there was the issue of that last feature, the 10C482, we can clearly not take any action on that, and we could with the first two. If another option would be just to, we have time on this, but I think we really want to get number one and number two of this out of the way. I think that's a time sensitive issue. Ms. Fay.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to bifurcate as you just indicated, so that we can move on items number 1 and 2 and keep our options open, discussion, and maybe see what other municipalities are doing in terms of the new public act and use of the word character.
Thank you very much. Commission members, is there a second? You were making a motion. You were making a motion on that, Ms. Fay, correct?
Yes, I was.
Mr. Coelho seems to like it. He's seconding it. Thank you. Commission members, any discussion? Mr. Melillo, is that your hand?
Yes, I have a question for
Please
Ms.
go.
I'm not sure. I don't remember. I've seen past minutes and discussions, that have come before us through previous actions where where this commission has taken action on, and they've voted on the whole petition, but they voted yes on part of it and no on another part of it. I've not seen anywhere we've actually separated a petition, take action on two parts of a petition, but then left one part of the petition without taking action on it. Is that, I think, and I mean, unless I'm misunderstanding, it seems to me as though that's what we're looking to do this evening. How does that work? And because we're not dealing with a petition in its entirety here.
So I've had that conversation with the Office of Corporation Counsel, and they found that it would be appropriate, that you could take action on two portions of it, and the amendment on the floor is to bifurcate it to separate them, and then that would enable you to take action on a couple of portions of it and not on another. And if there's additional information from technical staff, myself or Corporation Counsel, it would be treated like any other petition when you'd be able to accept that. So they didn't seem to think that there was any legal problem with that at all.
So in reality, and I just want to put this out so there's understanding and we're very clear as to what we're doing this evening. We're actually taking this petition and we're actually dividing the petition into two separate petitions. One petition that deals with the amendments regarding the zoning permit fee schedule to add provisions authorizing the charging a fee for expert consultants, and the amend language requiring additional requirements for approval of special exceptions. And then we're basically making a second action of business, which would be the petition to for special permits relative to the use of the word character. So for a noting purpose on the agenda, it would be noted as a petition of the City of Danbury by Sharon B. Calicio, Planning Director, to amend sections 3C, 10B2, 10B2, and 10C4, A2 of the zoning regulations. And then it'll just go to the aspect to amend the language and additional requirements for approval of special, relative to the word character. Am I understanding that correctly?
Well, I got a little confused there for the minute, but it's one petition, but you would be taking action on two sub components of the petition. So one component would still, you wouldn't take action on.
So that one component would continue to live on with
right.
with this open active petition, or
No,
Okay.
it would still be under old business for discussion and possible action.
That's what I meant. Okay.
Yes, but it wouldn't be an open public hearing. Alternatively, I'd prefer you not to deny that because I'd rather, be able to. But if you're more comfortable approving the two pieces and denying the other one, and we'll come back to you. We'll just have another public hearing and do everything.
No.
Whatever
I-
you're comfortable with, I would like to move forward, if possible, with the two portions, and we can come back to you if you're just more comfortable doing that. It eases
No.
anybody's confusion, but I
didn't mean keep it open as a public hearing. I meant if we took action on the first two, on the next agenda, this would remain just with one unfinished portion.
Correct.
Until we meet statutory time to take action.
Yes.
All right.
So, Mr. Chairman, then if I may continue.
Yes.
So it sounds to me as though we can take action on two of the three parts of the petition. The third part of the petition would remain open for a vote. We would either vote to approve that portion or to deny that portion, that last aspect of it. But I'm not quite sure if we wanted it, if we would be able to make any changes to it. So I'm wondering if, either we're comfortable with all three portions of the petition, or we would like to see changes made to the aspect dealing with the term character, and if it would be, and if that's the case, if it would be just to be better to deny that portion without prejudice, therefore allowing you to resubmit that portion of the petition.
Again, because the public hearing is closed, and if there was one portion of the petition that you could get wanted input from staff, like you can get after the close of the hearing, you could get some information from Corporation Counsel, who's put out like a listserv asking what other towns have been doing. They are staff to you like I am staff to you. So you could take that information outside after the close of a public hearing, and wouldn't be considered because you basically have asked staff to comment back. So you could do that. You could do that.
But how would that knowledge of what other area communities are doing be accepted? Because I remember prior times when we weren't even able to take a number of how many students in a complex or how many children in a complex were enrolled in school because the public hearing was closed, and that was dealt as being new information. I'm just curious how the knowledge of what other communities are doing in relationship to the word character wouldn't be considered new information.
Wouldn't it be more, isn't it framed as a legal opinion of what's legally acceptable within the state of Connecticut and what isn't? I don't think it's not just what other people are doing, it's what is generally accepted under the same auspice of this character, where we're trying to ascertain, I guess, character, for lack of a better word, but we're not using that word. So I think it really is, it's different just because it's a legal opinion. We're not just, shopping it around to see what's up, but what has generally found to be accepted within the legal community under this new public act.
Right.
That's why I thought was different. So I think we're just deferring a ruling on that portion of the petition rather than denying it.
Right. I just want to make sure that we're getting an opinion and not new information. That's all.
I see.
I don't want the opinion to say, well, Bethel does this, Ridgefield does, because that's new information, because we're familiar with what other communities have done versus a legal definition would be this, a legal definition would be that.
So, Ms. Fay, are you suggesting that if we do take action on the first two, we leave this active, and then again, utilizing Corporation Counsel as staff to maybe have them come to the next meeting and discuss their thoughts as they crafted it with Ms. Calitro? Something to
But
that
yeah,
effect?
I think a legal opinion as to what passes muster, what is acceptable within this new public act. And I think, their opinion will take into account what other municipalities have done, or possibly even what other states have done, because I don't believe that it would have been litigated in our state yet. It's brand new.
Yeah.
But a legal opinion can take that sort of information into account so that we can make a well-informed decision as to how our zoning regs should be written so as to avoid litigation for our city.
Thank you very much. Sounds good to me. Commission, any other comments, commission members, on what we've just been discussing, commission members? So we heard a motion. Let me see if I can remember now. The motion was made by Ms. Fay to bifurcate this into two different pieces. Number 1 and number 2 will be up for approval this evening. Number 3, which is 10C4A2, will remain on this as a old business for discussion of possible action. And who made this? Was it? Yeah, who's talking?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, it's me.
Ms.
Point of
Willow.
Point of clarification. Is this motion a motion to bifurcate, which therefore is going to require a separate motion for approval? Or is this a motion to bifurcate, which includes the approval?
I would
Ms.
like to
Fay,
make
what's
the
your
motion.
intention?
I would like to make the motion to bifurcate and approve I believe it's items 1 and 2, and defer a decision on item number 3 in the petition from Ms. Kalitra.
That's what I thought you said. Who's
Okay, so just for the record, so everybody's clear and anybody watching, so we're all on the same page. So approve the amendments to 3C6, which have to do with the state mandated parking requirements to opt out, and the amendments to add section 10B2K, which is the fee for expert consultants. And
Yes.
defer on 10C4, the change to 10C4A.
Yes,
Thank you.
correct, Ms. Fay, thank you. And who seconded that? Who
I
was it?
second that.
Oh, Mr. Coelho, that's right, okay. Commission members, any other discussion? Yes, Mr. Hawley.
If this wasn't the city of Danbury doing the petition, would we be able to still carry on this motion? Or is this just like a privileged motion because of the petitioner?
No, I would think we could do it for any petitioner.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Anything else? A yes is yes for the first two, which was further described by Ms. Fay and Ms. Calitro. And it would be to continue on with the third component to this. Ms. Fay,
Yes.
Ms. Helinski,
Yes.
Mr. Malillo,
Yes.
Mr. Hawley,
Yes.
Mr. Jowdy,
Yes.
Mr. Coelho,
Yes.
Mr. David. Oh, you're on mute.
A yes and a yes.
Yes and a yes. Mr. Rea,
Yes.
and I will vote yes.
Thank you.
I knew that you said more than one yes, because I was reading your lips, and you usually don't just say one word. It's a whole big sentence, so I had to have you unmute. That's 9-0. 9-0, thank you.
Thank you.
And we have a number 2 under old business for discussion of possible action, and that was the petition application of Giuseppe, Angelo, and Victor D. Simone, property owners for Blasius Auto, 16 Walnut Street, I-11054, for certificate of location approval for a motor vehicle used car dealer's license in the CG20 zone. Public hearing was open on January 25th, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. and it was closed on January 25th, 2022. Where is that? That's over here. Commission members. Mr. Malillo, I see your hand.
Yeah, I will make a motion to approve this petition with the stipulation that it adheres to the requirements as noted in the site plan approval, as well as a stipulation that any enhancements to those stipulations, which include the limited repair usage in the garage, and if there's any expansion to the repair uses in the garage as noted in the public hearing this evening, it must be subject to a future public hearing before this commission.
Thank you, Mr. Malillo. Do I see or hear a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Fay. Commission members, any discussion?
I would just like to add under the discussion, like I mentioned earlier, while I'm confident the applicants here, and they may be at this property for a long period of time, or are going to hold true to those aspects. I just want to maintain the city's protection should a change arise in the future, that we can still protect this neighborhood and this zone from uses that may not be compatible as they expand out from an allowed use in the zone.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? Mr. Jowdy?
Commissioner Melillo, are you saying that if these people leave this site, any new applicant has to go through the same procedure as this applicant did?
No, I'm saying any new applicant would be limited to maybe oil changes and small little incidental repair work in that garage. But if they're looking to do a more extensive auto repair in that garage, then they would have to apply submit an application to the zoning commission to remove that stipulation that work cannot be done on the premises.
So basically, they have to adhere to everything that we approved this applicant. And
Yes.
anything new, it would be different.
And no,
I mean,
anything expanded, any
Right.
expansion, which would be consistent with any expansion use. However, there are uses that are allowed under a used car dealership that may not be compatible to this specific parcel of property. And I want to protect that should any future tenants move in, that we can at least maintain that they will not do those uses that may not be compatible to the parcel.
Well, there's a difference between a new tenant and a possible sale of the property. So how would you want to take care of that?
It doesn't matter. It's a use. It's assigned to the use.
All right, you good, Mr. Jowdy?
Yeah, is that okay with you?
Yeah,
Commissioner Haddad? Yes. All right.
I'm all for it. Thank you, Mr. Melillo. Any other comments, commission members? So a yes is yes, a no is no, and the yes, when you say yes, is also carrying with it Mr. Melillo's further comments. Mr. Melillo,
Yes.
Ms. Fay,
Yes.
Ms. Helinski,
Yes.
Mr. Hawley,
Yes.
Mr. Jowdy,
Yes.
Mr. Coelho,
Yes.
Mr. David.
Yes.
One word answer, Mr. Rea,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. 9-0. Zoning Commission in the city of Danbury welcomes Blasius and wishes you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Good luck to you. Let's see, number 3. Under old business for discussion possible action is a petition of SC Ridge Owner LLC to amend the master plan for the summit approved June 23rd, 2020, and previously amended May 11th, 2021. That public hearing was closed on January 25th, 2022.
Chairman,
Mr. Melillo.
I would like to renew my motion from the previous meeting to approve this petition for the following, to approve this petition with the stipulation that should any aspect regarding the use of the school not proceed, the applicant reserves the right to revert back to the prior approval in regards to residential uses for the following reasons. This meets the criteria for approval as noted in the P&D regulations, and as reminded again earlier this evening by Ms. Calitra. These amendments do not present any use or condition that would render the site non-conforming. These amendments will maintain a site that is compliant with the POCD and the purpose for which it was rezoned and the master plan was approved. The retrofitting of a portion of the existing building for a Danbury Public School is beneficial to the city, and these amendments will provide flexibility while maintaining a mixed-use development.
5 minutes, Frank?
Thank you very much, Mr. Melillo. Commission members,
Make a
anybody there
motion.
want to second it and like what they heard?
I'll make a motion second.
There's a Mr. Coelho making a motion a second. Commission members, any discussion? There's a motion made with reasons and there's a second. Is there any discussion? Commission members, any discussion? A yes is yes, a no is no. Mr. Malillo,
Yes.
Mr. Coelho,
Yes.
Ms. Fay,
Yes.
Ms. Helinski,
Yes.
Mr. Hawley,
Yes.
Mr. Jowdy,
Yes.
Mr. David,
A yes is yes.
Mr. Rea,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. 9-0. What's going on with this commission tonight? Congratulations to SC Ridge.
Good luck.
Thank you, everyone.
Good luck to you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Yes, thank you. You too. So, nothing else on our old business for discussion, possible action. And we have, under new business, petition to City of Danbury by Sharon B. Calitro, Planning Director, to amend Section 3C of the zoning regulations to add subsection 7 in parentheses, opt out of state mandated allowance of accessory apartments in accordance with Public Act 21-29. Public hearing scheduled for March 8th, 2022. Anybody want to make a motion to refer this out?
So moved.
Chairman Haddad,
Yes, sir.
I will make a motion to refer this petition to the planning commission to post it in the town clerk's office and the zoning commission office to notify any and all community agencies or organizations that need to be notified under state statutes, and to set the public hearing date for March 8th, 2022.
Comma, which is subject to change depending on circumstances related to COVID-19, you meant to say.
Well, actually, I did it because the executive order expires on February 19th and has not been approved yet, so we don't know if that will be the case.
But it might. Is it the 19th though? I knew it was coming up. I didn't know if it was the 19th, 22nd. I thought anyway. All right, so let's see. Since I sloppy that up, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
those opposed.
Aye.
All right. No correspondence, nothing under, or is there any other matters? Any other matters? Any other matters? I think we're done unless anybody's got anything they want to say. I'll just say thank you to everyone. And is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Jowdy to adjourn, second by Ms. Helinski. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed?
Aye, aye.
This meeting is adjourned at 8:34 PM. Thanks again, everyone. Appreciate it.